Hello, and welcome back to the final episode of Tel's podcast for the year 2020.
Phew, I thought you were going to say it's the last one ever.
My name is Busi, and this podcast is on poker and love. I'm joined by my co-host, Andrew Nimi. Hello, Andrew.
Hi. It is kind of funny how you say my full name like that.
Why? It's your name.
Yeah, that's
and I
true.
love it.
It's just funny to hear you say it, I guess.
Twas the day after Christmas. How was your Christmas, Andrew?
Twas the day after Christmas.
Twas the day after Christmas.
How was my Christmas, you asked?
That's right.
Great. It was great. Just the two of us taking a Christmas photo by the tree and then having some food, having some beverages,
How about that bike ride?
having a bike ride. How could I forget?
Long bike ride. Hope your Christmas was good. Tell us in the comments how your Christmas was, how you spent your 2020 Christmas. If you celebrate. If you don't celebrate Christmas and maybe celebrate Hanukkah, how was your Hanukkah? That was like a week ago.
What other things can people celebrate?
Kwanzaa.
What else?
Um,
That's all I got too.
that's all I know.
Okay.
And then whatever you want.
Let us know. What was your favorite part? The bike ride? The couch sitting?
The nap. The midday nap.
The nap?
Yeah. I
You
don't
enjoyed
usually
that.
take a nap during the day, but
Yeah.
I allowed myself a nice long nap on Christmas Day before I started cooking, and it was divine.
Are you hungover today?
I was struggling a little bit because I drank wine,
Yeah.
which we don't usually drink anymore.
You don't indulge in the vino anymore, do you?
I do not. I've
Consciously, or just it just doesn't come up?
a little bit of both. Consciously,
Uh-huh.
because I just get bad hangovers from red wine, especially.
It's because you're old.
I think so.
Yes.
And we found a wine replacement, which I enjoy.
Okay. Such as?
It's called Can, and
They're
it's a social tonic.
not sponsoring this show.
No, but if you know anybody who works at Can and wants to find a sponsor,
What
billboard, this YouTube channel being a billboard for ads,
That's right.
hit us up. Hello at telspodcast.com.
A social tonic, you say?
Yeah, so it's a cannabis infused sparkling drink. So it has a little bit of THC, a little bit of CBD, and
Yeah. I feel like if you have one, I don't know if it's like technically called microdosing, maybe like a little bit more than microdosing, but less than like a full dose, you know, of the weed.
okay.
But somewhere in between microdosing and dosing, I would call one can.
One can is a half a dose,
Maybe not even that.
a quarter dose.
Yeah, something
So
like
it's
that.
almost micro dosing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, if you feel a little bit of tension in your shoulder.
It's nice and chill. It's a nice chill ride, and you can control it. It seems like more easily than a joint or a bowl or what have you.
Yeah, or some of that candy. Some
Yeah.
of those gummies that just hit you by surprise.
Just ruin your evening.
Yeah. So anyway.
Send you down a path of what do you call it when you're afraid of things? Paranoia.
Yeah.
That's not what you want.
No, definitely not. So anyway, that was Christmas. It was chill, quiet, just the two of us.
Did a Zoom call with my family.
And I did a WhatsApp video call with my family. So there was a lot of talking on Christmas Day. But
Can't believe we still haven't like matched up all the family in some fashion. You know, seems like we should hop out on Zoom, everybody.
yeah,
Why haven't we?
I don't know.
I don't know
'Cause
either.
You're always sleeping when I call my family, probably.
I guess so. So is probably the rest of my family.
Yeah,
But
probably.
we could yell at them and make sure they're up and at them early so we can have a cross-continental Zoom situation.
Perhaps. I mean, we could always do nighttime, because then my parents would be up in the morning and your parents would be up at night, since they are more night owls.
Was your family, did your family say they miss you?
Yes,
Did they really?
they did.
Okay.
All right. So as it is the last episode of 2020, we've fallen more deeply in love.
We have.
If you've been watching, we did 36 questions that lead to love.
Thanks to
Andrew is deeply in love with me now.
Thanks to the failing New York Times.
Thanks to the failing New York Times. So today I wanted to ask you, Andrew, reflections on the year that is 2020 as it draws to a close.
Quite a doozy of a year, no?
What have you learned, observed, would like to share with the listeners of Tel's podcast?
Observed or learned, like about myself or what?
About yourself.
Give me a specific question.
Why can't you just think
You
about?
just want me to riff?
Yeah.
Ad lib.
I don't have a specific. Okay, so maybe give me one thing that you learned about yourself.
Okay.
One thing you learned about the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in 2020.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if I had any like major revelations, but I do feel like the year kind of reaffirmed some things, particularly how I really would like to work on focusing more on the present time rather than constantly looking down the calendar to the next event, like mentally. And that was sort of forced upon us during this time, and it was nice and is nice. It's still ongoing, I guess. Nothing changes next month, next week.
No, we're not going to just bust out into the new year.
I think that's in for some disappointment if you think that's going to happen. But so like just trying to be more present and being forced to do so is like really nice, you know? So just being here with you in the moment, figuring out what we're going to watch tonight on Netflix, all that kind of stuff is pretty enjoyable. But I guess it's also like it makes me appreciate just like being able to get together with people, you know? I guess that's like something I could maybe take for granted sometimes when you literally can't see people because of all this pandemic stuff, to just try and be grateful that that's available and to like utilize that option and get together with people more often. That might be like more of a revelation than like the living in the moment thing, but maybe it kind of coincides with one another.
Sounds like it coincides.
Yeah, it probably does. How's that answer? Acceptable?
Good.
Yeah. Okay.
Just going to make you jealous with my answer.
That's fine. Go ahead.
No.
Tell us.
2020. A personal realization was how to be happy without having something happen. Because I realized that how often I put, I'll be happy when.
Yeah.
On my life, right? I'll be happy when I make X amount of money. I'll be happy when I go to Mexico City. I'll be happy when. And just being, just being wherever I was, which was literally on our balcony. I remember in March when the most exciting thing was going out and sitting on the balcony for sun o'clock. And we'd sit on the balcony for an hour when the sun would just be right on the side of the building. So, and I felt really content and not wanting for anything, which I was very grateful for, because there are a lot of people that were, in want, whether they'd lost jobs or whatever the situation was, but just being in deep appreciation for what we already had. And sometimes, like you say, we just take it for granted that, oh, I have this, but I want that, and this is what I'm chasing.
Yeah.
Also, just the resilience of people and humanity was amazing to see, because there was so much happening in 2020. It's just unbelievable, from coronavirus to Black Lives Matter to it was just unbelievable. But seeing the strength of the human spirit and just the sheer will and force, and of course the sheer will of Bitcoin continuing on that upward trajectory.
Incredibly impressive, that Bitcoin.
So yeah, I was just very grateful for
Bitcoin.
the experience of, like you said, being present, but also actually feeling joy without having something outside of myself change.
To be able to accomplish that feeling.
Yeah. And just live in it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Yours is a little better.
What about the upcoming year? Are you thinking about goals or anything of the sort? Looking forward to?
I think there's like a few general plans that we want to put into action. So I don't know if there's like necessarily real specific goals that I can like attach a number to or anything. But like, yeah, there's different things work-wise that we want to strive for, or at least like get the gears turning. I guess previous years I would maybe attach some sort of number to it. But I mean, if this year is any example of like why it's kind of silly to set like a very specific numbers goal, because you never know what's going to happen really. And we still don't know like how long this sort of situation is going to go on for into 2021. I don't know, but yeah, I'm pretty excited like to get back to
making videos,
making the vids.
Yeah, we need more poker videos.
Yeah, I've sort of like recently reframed my mind about the videos a little bit, and like about the audience and who's watching them, and like what I think people enjoy from watching the videos, and like how my perspective with poker aligns with that. And so I don't know, like I'm pretty eager to get back after it, I guess.
Yeah.
So
I'm looking forward to those poker videos.
You are?
I do. I mean, I always enjoy the way you tell a story.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems really silly because it's just a poker hand, but there's usually some suspense in there.
Interesting.
I've told you this before. Don't interesting.
I like hearing it every time. Very interesting stuff you're talking about. Keep telling me.
Even though I don't play poker myself, I still look forward to the punchline and the outcome
of each individual hand, or each individual video, or what?
Of the hands.
Okay.
Because usually I know that you put the most interesting hands of your session. So it's like a nice little summary of, what you were up to the night before.
That night before, yeah.
You never came home and told me about your hand history.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can see what the hell was going on in my world, in my life.
That's right.
The previous night.
Yeah. Natasha, our friend, who was also dating a poker player, would say that Brad had 5 hands. That was his limit. He could not tell more than 5 hands.
So he loves talking about the hands too,
Natasha. He would come home and tell her some hands, and she was like, you have 5 hands. And I was like, I don't get any hands. I would be happy with 5 hands.
Shout out to Brad G. Brad G, you should just start a vlog or a podcast or something, because the thirst for poker hands from a poker audience is unquenchable. Insatiable.
Yeah.
Everlasting. Always there. So anyway, that's cool. I'm glad you still like my videos.
I do. And also another thing that I'm very grateful for is that we did this thing doing Tel's podcast, because even when there wasn't like a set thing and there was no goal, we knew that the weekend came, with sitting down and recording the podcast, which allowed us to create something. Even though we're like stuck at home, we were still able to make something, which is always really nice.
Yeah, and it's just nice to like get some things out, get some words out, not like necessarily to the public, but like amongst us. Yeah, I think.
No, because this podcast is generally a catalyst to other conversations. So at least we've lubricated Andrew's talking pieces.
Have we?
He doesn't really like to talk that much, but once we start talking, you're usually pretty good about continuing.
I only talk if I'm getting paid the big bucks, you know, like we are on this channel.
All the big bucks.
All the $0.
All right. Anything else
About what?
about this year, the upcoming year? What you wish for the world? Do you have any wishes for the world?
Hang in there. Hang in there, people.
Jesus, we even had an election this year.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Try and not panic. Buy Bitcoin.
Speaking of Bitcoin.
Add a small percentage of Ethereum. Tiny percentage of Litecoin.
This is not a financial advice podcast, so do not listen to Andrew's advice on what to buy.
That's true.
All right, we have a voice message.
We do.
From Frank.
Great. Let's hear it.
Let's hear the voice message.
Busi seemed disappointed that few messages were coming in, so here's one from California. Merry Christmas, and best of luck for a great experience on the home tour you suggested you were both going to take in today's vlog. Yeah. I'm curious, in particular given Busi's attention paid to markets and values, whether the volatility of the Las Vegas real estate market will be a big decision factor for you both on deciding whether or not to jump in. Anyway, keep up the entertaining and creative content. Your audience adores you both. And have a happy new year.
Oh.
Thank you, Frank.
Thanks, Frank.
And thank you for the gorgeous Christmas card, too.
He did. He did that, Frank. He does it all. So, yeah, we took a house tour. We've got to circle back to that conversation.
We do have to circle back to that conversation.
Guess what, guys? We are not homeowners.
That house
was lovely.
However. And except that it was right across the street from a jail.
Yep.
Needless to say, I think it's a little bit of a hard sell. Come visit me. I live by the jail. I mean, I don't think people who are in jail are going to, escape. But it doesn't, it doesn't make for much curb appeal.
Yeah. For me, that's not as big of a negative, a minus.
Really?
Yeah. I just don't think it's that big of a deal. It's like something you see in movies or whatever. They're like, oh, there's breakouts and stuff. It just doesn't really happen.
I don't even think about the breakouts.
You just think the aesthetics of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Location is everything with real estate, no?
It's down in Henderson in an area called Water Street. And there is like some recent development and economic development down there. There's a new minor league hockey team that plays down there.
What are they called? Silver
the
Knights?
Silver Knights.
Mm-hmm.
Cleverly named, sort of. So there's new like stadium down there. Some bars and breweries and stuff, but I do think there'll be continued development down there, but it is like very early, I think, in that cycle.
Right. And I think too that you don't have to purchase the house with the least curb appeal just to be in there.
Because of the jail?
Yeah.
I think it's a lovely enough house, makes up for it.
Please tell me, would you buy a house that was right across the street from a jail?
Go on. Let us know.
Thank you. Please leave in the comments below. Yes. Because I think
you would.
The house was beautifully renovated. The backyard was huge. But for me, that was like instant no.
Okay. Well, it's not happening, so don't worry.
Okay.
But anyway.
Frank asked if
the volatility in the Las Vegas market will affect our buying choices.
I think me more than you. I'm always a little bit more cognizant of that. And, obviously I don't know exactly what the market value is for every property because I'm not in real estate. But the market's hot at the moment in Las Vegas. Yeah,
the interesting thing is that there hasn't really been volatility per se. It's just kind of been like up.
Right.
Like ever since the Great Recession.
Right.
Like it's just continuously been up. And this, even though it's affecting the Vegas economy so far, that seems to have been replaced. Those losses have been replaced by people coming from
California,
mainly California. Yeah.
Welcome. So
that's really propped up the real estate market significantly. I think average prices are at all-time highs.
Yep.
But yeah, I guess we sort of have to wait and see what happens as the pandemic continues and the Las Vegas economy is affected by it. And we have to wait and see.
Right, because I don't think I've seen any sort of drop in prices for rentals or anything of the sort.
Nope.
But every realtor that I know is just making money hand over fist.
Yeah. Are we in the wrong business?
At this point in time,
Podcasting
yes.
is not it?
Nope.
Oh, shit. Where you make $0?
We should have got a real estate license in March instead of rebooting this podcast.
We messed that one up. Is that all the questions from Frank?
That was all the questions.
All right. Thanks, Frank.
Let's have a look at some other feedback. So Jim D says, you guys joked about Bitcoin as an investment. I don't know anything about Bitcoin. However, a house is a good long-term investment. Mortgage, interest deduction for income tax, home value appreciation, etc. My wife and I bought a townhouse in the Bay Area, and at one point last year, the property's value doubled. Although we still have 3,600 monthly payments to go. Crying face. Thanks for the content. So,
sure.
Will you explain to Jim D high level what Bitcoin is and why he's missing out by buying a house instead of Bitcoin?
I don't really want to be honest with you.
Okay.
If you are very, very curious and want a little bit of guidance, shoot me a DM on Instagram.
About Bitcoin?
Sure.
Okay. It's fake money, like every other piece of money we have.
Yeah. Elon Musk said, he put it pretty well. He's like, Bitcoin is almost as BS as fiat money.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Anyway, home ownership, the financial benefits of. I think for me, the main two things about home ownership are A, whether or not we want to put a down payment on something when we don't necessarily know what the housing market is going to do, as well as whether or not we can use that capital in other investments. Mm-hmm. And B, do we want to do home maintenance? Do we want to do our own maintenance on the things that we own?
Yeah. I think that's pretty much been our relationship understanding of home ownership, right? Mm-hmm. I know that you're not interested in that. The
right.
only reason I want to own a house is because of the ability to decorate it and paint the walls.
Okay.
Versus a rental.
Can we not paint the walls in here?
Yeah, but then you have to paint them back before you leave.
Well, that's twice as fun for you then. No?
No.
Is that not the point?
So that is obviously the perk I see to home ownership. But as an investment, I think because it's not very liquid, I would want to use my money elsewhere in something that is more liquid, meaning I can get in and out of it a little bit quicker than selling a house. Obviously, 2020, those rules don't apply, because if you want to sell a house, you sell a house in 2 days in 2020. But that's not usually the case.
When I see a house for sale, or when I'm looking for a house, when I'm looking at houses for sale, I'm looking at houses that I don't have to do anything to, for the most part.
Sure.
Like, the pictures look great. I want to move in like that.
Yeah.
And not have to change too much.
Yeah. And I would be happy to move into a place, or not move in, but to purchase a home that needed some work, so that everything that I did was more personal to me versus like.
See, I want to buy a $2 million house where everything is like, all the materials are like cool,
top notch.
Yeah, it's like really nice looking, and yeah, I'll take that as it is. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll
see how we'll see how this relationship ends up.
But 3,600 payments. That's
$3,600 a month payments.
No, 3,600 payments.
3,600 payments
which
left.
Which means they have 10 years worth of mortgage to pay.
3,600.
Yeah. Right. It's 12.
12 times 10 is 120.
Oh, so when did they buy?
I think he just means $3,600 a month.
No, that's not how he wrote it. We still have 3,600.
Yeah, but
so if you go calculator, 3,600 divide by 12, that's
300 years.
Oh, 30. So 360 months, right? is probably what he wanted because it's a 30-year mortgage.
I don't know. Just because he didn't include the dollar sign doesn't mean he doesn't mean $3,600 a month.
We still have 3,600 monthly payments to go.
Okay, maybe you're right.
So I think maybe he means 360 monthly payments because that's 30 years.
Maybe.
All right, Jim D, just let us know because
maybe he has a 300-year mortgage.
that's a good mortgage.
I don't know.
That's a good mortgage
Is
because
it?
you're not going to pay it off. You just
They'll get their money in 300 years.
right, and you won't be there.
Nice
you don't
move.
care.
Nice move, Jim D.
Good job, Jim D. Let's see if we have any other questions in the email. Oh, we also got a message from Jessie. And Jessie says, "Hi there, longtime fan of the vlog and the podcast. Just listened to the last episode and figured I'd write. Have you ever considered buying a certified used car, Andrew? You can get nice low mileage with long warranty when you buy used from a certified brand, a name brand dealer.
Okay.
The other positive is that your registration, taxes, and insurance will all be cheaper than with a new car. Thanks for all the entertaining content."
That sounds
From
good.
Jessie.
I do like the warranty part, and I guess the low mileage part as well, because one of my similar to the house discussion thing is that I really don't like dealing with fixing car BS.
So last week we were talking about, one of the questions was, what problem do you have that you haven't resolved? And Andrew was like, I don't have a car. So
Right.
this is Jessie's solution to
Yeah.
Andrew.
So that's why I always like leasing, because you get a brand new car that doesn't have any issues after 3 years.
You hope.
I mean, if it has low mileage and if there is a warranty on it where I can just get things fixed, I guess that's a reasonable option. So I could look into that, yeah.
Look into that.
There is something nice about having 7 miles on that car when you get it. No other previous owners. Just me.
I thought you were going to say
Just me and that lady.
I thought you were going to say the smell, but then I was going
The
to.
new car smell.
Yeah, you can buy that.
Yeah. Seems like they've hacked that.
So you can always turn back the odometer to,
What do you mean?
to 7 miles if that's what you really want.
Isn't that illegal?
It is illegal, but if it's your car, what do you care?
What if that so you put it back when you sell it again?
Right.
That's ridiculous. Ridiculous suggestion.
We're trying to solve your problems here on Tel's podcast, Andrew.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Keep trying.
Thanks for the message, Jessie.
I guess so. I guess I could take a look.
Yeah.
But yeah, dealing with broken cars, dealing with house maintenance. No thanks.
What do you want to deal with in your life, Andrew?
I don't mind like coming up with ideas and things, for like projects.
Like new stuff.
Yeah. Like I like to look forward. I don't like to get stuck working on fixing something that is hindering my progress. Somebody else do that. I got to look down the road a little bit.
Okay.
If 2020 has taught me anything, it's to keep looking down the road. Never be in the moment.
I think there's actually, you can find some like peace and satisfaction with like fixing things.
That's probably true, but I have to take the time to learn how to do it, and then
You don't have to do it yourself. Sometimes you just need to problem solve that item. You're just like, don't give me any problems at all. I want to create my own problems.
Not necessarily.
By creating my own projects. I don't want you to give me problems.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, I don't want to deal with problems from something else
You
that I'm
just-
already paying for. It should just work.
Okay, this podcast is going off the rails for the last...
This is getting good.
No, we don't want to hear you complaining about the things that you don't want to do.
No, you got to know how you function best.
I think so. Yeah, I mean, I think that's good.
Lean into your strengths. Lean into your strengths.
Okay.
Put your weaknesses on someone else's plate, if you can. If you can pay someone else to do it, so that you can just do the things that you're most interested in and that you excel at. I think that's a good strategy.
Okay. That's words of wisdom from Andrew Nemi
Yes.
to close out the year. You also listened to the Bill Perkins book, Die with Zero.
Most of it.
Any thoughts?
Really interesting. It's kind of like refreshing in a way daunting at the same time, but refreshing to hear him talk about death and planning for death, you know, because everyone just wants to kick that can down the road and not really dwell on death. But like you said, it's good. I think you said that in another of our shows, that it's good to actually think about these things because we all die.
We do all die.
So that's interesting. You got really depressed by the book. I got depressed more by the different chapters where he was saying you really need to look after your health because that pays a lot of dividends later on. It sort of determines how much you're going to enjoy everything, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think part of it for me was just, I think I've always wanted things fast. So I wanted the success in my 20s instead of doing 20-year-old person things. Like instead of traveling, I was like, no, I want the most stressful job with the most hours, because if I work now, then I have 40s.
Yeah.
But it's not guaranteed.
Sure.
So.
But the good news is that you're still quite young.
Yeah, but my 20s are gone.
Yeah, but like, that's fine. I mean, it's definitely like some of this, there's a lot of fun experiences out there in your 20s, but I don't know if you really appreciate it anyway, you know, when you're a dumb kid.
No, but he spoke
20s.
about like coming to Vegas in your 20s versus coming to Vegas in your 30s, which I think both times can be very fun, and it's going to be a different experience, of course, right? So I think I was late in my 20s when I realized I don't have to wait to go to Mexico to stay at the Four Seasons. I can go to Mexico and stay at an Airbnb today.
Yeah.
And I think that has been more enriching in my life. And I wish I just had learned that sooner. Because when I was 18, I was like, me? In a hostel? I don't think so.
No regrets. You could have been dead. Something could have killed you out there when you were gallivanting instead of working.
Well, yeah, I mean, no regrets, I guess. Well, that's what we're going to try to do. Should we wrap this up?
We should.
All right. Thank you so much for listening to Tel's podcast. If you like this podcast, you heard today we had a voice message. You can leave us a voice message too. 702-690-9299. You can text us as well.
This isn't really the phone signal anymore, you know. Now it's this.
Yes, now. They say this is how you know how old you are, whether you do this for the phone signal or this. All the youngins do this, and older people, this is the phone signal.
Have you ever used a rotary phone in your life?
Of course.
Okay.
My grandma had one.
That's cute. We had one. My family.
I
My
think
immediate family.
We might have had one too, actually. But I know for sure my grandma had one. So.
As you were saying.
And if you would like to write to us, hello@telspodcast.com. Wishing you and your family a happy new year, prosperous, healthy, most importantly, and
Peaceful.
And thank you for being my co-host, Andrew Nimi.
A pleasure. Thanks for getting us to do this, because it's been fun and rewarding. And not very monetary rewarding, but that's fine.
We'll try and fix that in the new year, huh?
We'll see.
All right. Until next year. Bye.
Bye.